like Paducah and McCracken County that invest in growing new companies see higher wage growth, stronger economic resilience, and more robust tax base. See, we're not trying to build a company with 200 employees. That's not what we're doing here. We are building 200 new entrepreneurs who are going to grow 5 to 10 jobs over time, and that's over 1,000 jobs, potential jobs, right here, rooted right here in our community. And Sprocket is the pipeline that keeps our community competitive in the modern economy. But we want to really thank our sponsors that without their support stepping up, we wouldn't be able to have events like these. And we have Ray Black and Son. I saw Chris over here somewhere. Thank you, Chris is our lead sponsor, always our #1 supporter. Thank you very much. WKNT Telecommunications, FNB Bank, and Paducah Bank. Thank you so much for your support. Thanks to our Sprocket team. I know they are all around here. They grow so tirelessly on putting up these events. And thanks to my fellow board members. They're over here. Raise your hand. I see them around the room. Thank you. Special thank you, really, to our founders. All the ones over here around this room, because they choose and trust Sprocket to help us, to let us help you grow those babies, your companies. I have one of those babies, so I know how important that is to you. So thank you. And final thanks to our financial supporters, the City of Paducah, McCracken County Fiscal Court, Team Kentucky, the Kentucky Economic Development, and I know they're here in the room. I'm so excited they came all the way from Louisville. I saw them earlier. Raise your hand. Yeah, there she is. And with that, I'm going to pass this on to Monica for a special announcement. Thank you so much and welcome.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks, Inez. So tonight you're going to see 8 of those new companies in the region, and we have another 40 plus in the pipeline. We have to have 100 in the pipeline because that's about what we need to really grow this engine. But that's amazing, you guys. So we're very excited about that. These entrepreneurs are supported by an amazing staff that we have here at Sprocket, amazing team, and also amazing volunteers. We have over 20 mentors that work with companies and coaching them. And so I wanted to recognize one of our amazing mentors and coaches for today. So we have a special Sprocketeer Award. If you notice, this is actually made from the kids at the Paducah Innovation Hub, so it's fabulous. This person has hosted for us, out of just sheer talent, really, 50 coffee hours. She has sourced 50 guest speakers for us in all kinds of professional services. And she has made it possible for 750 attendees to access support as they grow and build their business. So this year's Sprocketeer Award is Amy Tooley. Now give a hand to Amy. She did not know this. We could not do it without everybody. Honestly, everybody in this community that joins in and helps us. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And I'm going to let us get on with the program. John Truitt is wearing a new hat. You have seen him before as our board chair in years past, and now he is our entrepreneur in residence, and he is working with these teams tirelessly, and we appreciate it. So I'm going to let you take it from here.
Thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. And I just want to say, first of all, that those of you who've been here before, been around for a few years, maybe even volunteering, supporting, things like that, this is a great space, and the programs that we're doing now are just amazing to me. I started on the board in 2018. We didn't have this space at that time. It'd be a few years later. And we've gone from just an idea to what we're doing today. And I'm here to tell you that would not have happened if it weren't for Monica Belak. That she is an incredible driving force for our community and for our entrepreneurs and things like that. So I just want to give a round of applause. All right. So, I want to talk just briefly about the Sprocket Market Fit Lab. That's what we're here doing with startups. It's a 2-year program that exists in 4 different phases that are designed to do training and coaching tools for entrepreneurs to help them to grow, to learn, to succeed. It is very, very difficult to start up a business, especially an innovative business, and most of them fail. Over 90% fail. And the reality of that is that the reason that they typically fail is because the entrepreneurs don't know how to succeed. It's difficult to learn that skill set, and it's a very, very different skill set than whatever it is that you're doing. And those of you who have been entrepreneurs and have built successful companies, you know how hard that is. So what we're trying to do is make that a better, easier process, where we take a lot of the wisdom that has been developed over the past few decades in building companies, and there's a lot of that. A lot of that has come out of Silicon Valley. There's a lot of that in this room. How do we help them to grow? And so the Market Fit Lab, that's what it's all about. We also target predominantly teams that are here in this area, in this region. And that's a little different than what we've done in the past, where we were trying to recruit companies in. What we recognized is that we needed to grow more entrepreneurs in the local area. So that's why we're doing stuff like trying to build it up to have over 100, 200 companies in that pipeline. So just quickly, the 4 phases. Phase 1 is called business model design. This is where they have an idea and they want to develop it into a business. This is where most businesses should die, right? Because they're not going to be a good idea, and you should be able to tell that before you spend any money and a lot of time. And so that's what we work on. But you can take that bad idea that you had to begin with, that you didn't know was a bad idea, and in just a few weeks, turn it into a much better idea. And so that's what we do in that phase. Phase 2 is demand validation, where you have to actually prove that people actually want to buy whatever it is that you're going to build or do. Phase 3 we call value delivery. A lot of the teams that you're going to see tonight, all but one of the teams that you're going to see tonight is in phase 3. We have one team in phase 2. And what they're doing is trying to, they've built out their product or service, or in the process of actually building it out. They've done their validation, and they're building what's called a customer success engine and a customer acquisition engine. And so we do a lot of training, a lot of coaching, stuff like that. And then phase 4 is growth. It's where what we're doing is helping them to figure out their engine of growth and their marketing mechanisms. They've kind of already figured out how to make customers happy and how to sell, but how do they scale that into a sustainable large business? So that's phase 4. So that's what the Market Fit Lab is all about. And so by the time they graduate, they should be well on their way to success. That they've figured everything out, their marketing mechanism, they know what they're doing there, and they're able to they know they got to spend this much money, and that returns this number of customers, this much revenue, and they're on track to both sustainability and, if you're familiar with the term, product market fit. So that's Market Fit Lab. If you have questions about that, if you want to know more about what we're doing, find me or Monica or Maggie around here, and we'd be happy to tell you all about that program. Okay, now we want to get into having the founders do their presentations. Here's how it's going to work. They're going to have a few minutes to give their presentation, and we're not going to give you any time to ask them questions. And the reason we're going to do that is because we're going to move through them very quickly, and then they have these tables around, and so you want to listen carefully, take notes, write down your questions, and we have some pen and paper around that if you don't have any, write down your questions and then go find them and talk to them and go deep with them at these tables. Right? So the first team that's going to come up is Swell. You guys back there? And Ben Allegra has come he and I are office mates right now, And I'm not going to introduce what the companies do, but I do want to say that Ben is one of two tonight that you're going to see that are part of our next 50K program. So this is a program where we do actually recruit and bring people in. It involves grants and investment and stuff like that. And then they come here and they do work here and they're doing some really cool stuff. So I will turn it over to Ben.
Hi, my name's Ben Allegre. I'm the head of growth at Swell, and we're currently focused on tackling the mental health crisis in America. Right now, as it currently stands, there's simply not enough therapists in the United States to serve the ever-growing need of the wellness of our population. This is felt even more so in military populations and law enforcement, where I actually learned a pretty staggering statistic at a conference I attended recently. It's that more officers die by suicide than in the line of duty every year. And in the military, 39% of deaths were unfortunately by suicide. I've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of folks in law enforcement over the past several months to dig a little deeper on what the current wellness solutions are, why they work, why they don't, and to get further into the psyche of why those solutions might not be used. And what I'm told is they've tried a lot: in-house social workers, therapists, peer support groups, chaplains, but the common theme always comes back is that it's simply not getting used. And so, like I said, try to dig a little deeper, figure out, well, why aren't they using it? And the common theme I hear is, well, these are highly self-reliant individuals. They are more likely to try to figure it out on their own, and they don't want their buddies finding out that they're weak or seeking out these wellness resources, which is true not only in this profession, but also in a lot of professions nationwide, where you don't want your buddies finding out, and the stigma around getting mental health support alone is enough to drive people away from using those resources that their organizations offer. And that's likely why we see the employee assistant wellness programs utilization rate average below 5% nationwide, regardless of profession. So our solution to that is Swell. We're an AI-guided mental performance platform that you can access in your pocket 24/7. It is an app. This is something that's not some sort of ChatGPT or Gemini, and it's just feeding you some BS from the internet. This is grounded in clinically proven intervention methods and is kind of customized to the user. What I mean by that is it's pretty simple to start. You can just go in and chat about whatever it is that you see fit. It may be, I'm stressed at home, or I'm stressed at work, I need some help with motivation, or hundreds of other things in between. And so, for example, you may say, I'm arguing with my partner a lot, and I want to stop doing that after work. What should I do? It'll ask some more questions to get further context, give you some feedback on here's a de-escalation technique, or here's a framework of how you can properly apologize. Do you want to try it right here in the app? And you may say, yeah, try it out and iterate from there. Or you may say, no, that doesn't work for me. And in real time, it'll give you a new solution. The more you use it, the better it gets. That's what I meant with the customization aspect. It does remember context of conversations. So for me, next time I go into it, it'll probably say, how'd that box breathing go before this big presentation? And I'll say, great, I'm feeling good. I see some smiling faces, but I want to try something else going forward. So what I will say is it is privately protected. It is protected under personal health information HIPAA laws, so it is fully confidential. No one in your organization, none of your friends even have to know that you use it. And to be clear, this is not a replacement for therapy. This is a much lower level of care. We call it a performance coach in your pocket. But again, not going to replace that traditional therapy method or your therapist. This is more something to help you in your day-to-day. And for organizations, the benefit is it's a preventative care method to try to get people before they hit that burnout point. In terms of minimum success criteria, and again, this is minimum, by the end of 26, we expect to see $1 million revenue, 27's 2, 28's 5. In terms of traction, we've been around for a while, just not fully focused on our self-guided AI solution. We spent the past 3 years doing teletherapy, primarily with the military population in Tennessee and Kentucky, where we gained a lot of that know-how while building the long-term solution in parallel. Now we're, like I said, fully focused on that AI-based solution. So myself and Dalton, who's back there and built the whole thing, and the founder, and our operations lead are the only ones on our team. We no longer do teletherapy, and we're set to launch 10 law enforcement pilots by the end of January. I'm actually really thankful for Sprocket in the city of Paducah, because city of Paducah was the first one to raise their hand and say, hey, we'll give you guys a shot, and we onboarded them about a month ago and have been coming back periodically to check in on them, get feedback, what they like, especially what they don't, so we can optimize a solution that people actually use and benefit from. I also want to say, at a larger scale, we're thankful for the state of Kentucky. Not only did they invest in our recently closed seed round, but they also are allowing us to try this out with the Kentucky State Police, which we're set to do some onboarding for by, like I said, the end of January. So you're probably wondering, well, how did you get these other departments to sign up and agree to do this? And I myself drove to over 100 law enforcement agencies in the course of 6 weeks between September and October. And I just showed up. You can imagine me coming in with muffins, a big smile, brochure on what we're building, starting to get some of those conversations going. And that alone, staying in touch via email, via phone, before we even had the app built, had the others say, you know what, we'll give it a shot. So it is a 3-month pilot period where they try it out. We get some feedback along the way. But after that 3 months, we do charge $8 to $12 per user a month. And from the initial reactions I've seen from the leadership teams we talked to, that's a heck of a lot lower than what they're currently paying for their wellness solutions. Our market size, so entry-level market, and this is just in Kentucky and a couple of the bordering states, not all, Tennessee, Ohio, and Indiana. There's 80,000 full-time employees in law enforcement, ballpark at about $10 per head. You're looking at $120 per employee a year and a $9.6 million annual recurring beachhead market opportunity. It's pretty small when you think that there's over 1 million full-time employees in law enforcement nationwide. That's just one vertical. We want to get it right for this group, but eventually we naturally see this segueing into all of first responders, fire, EMS, city employees, laddering that up to the state. And we also are interested in doing this for corporate wellness plans, university students, and eventually the everyday person on the App Store once we have enough traction. So since we were doing the teletherapy for the past 3 years, we do have some good connects in with TRICARE and Humana, and have some entry-level conversations on could this be something they provide to their subscribers to try to solve that problem we talked about earlier of can we reduce the number of therapy sessions because there's not enough therapists to serve the need as is in the US. So that's our whole spiel. I'm looking to connect with leaders who would be willing to provide intros to parties who could benefit from this in terms of organizations, anyone who's passionate about first responder wellness, or if you just want to talk about the future of mental health care with myself, the head of growth, and the guy who built it, will be right back there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Our next team is another Next 50K awardee. This, again, is our program to recruit into the area. And this is Data Rovers and Dr. Jawad Papalzai.
Hello. Thank you everyone for being here. And it's been almost a year since I first presented to many of you were in this room. And I had heard my pitch at least once before. So it's been a great year. I'm very thankful to all the Sprocket team here, especially John Truitt. I've learned so much from him. It reminds me of as much as I have learned from my med school professors. So it's been a great journey, a lot of learning, and we achieved quite a bit of how to develop. It's a totally different art that we never learned. So we're in the business of healthcare, and all of us, we have experienced, hospitals are part of our lives, and we interact with them every year, maybe every 3 months, or so on. So a lot of us believe that having an insurance means that any service that has been provided to us by the hospital will get paid. And I wish it was that way, but in reality, almost every 15 out of 100 claims for any hospital that they bill the insurance, they do get denied. And the overall problem size has reached up to some studies up to $262 billion worth of it. And we are talking about the cases, the patients that do have insurances. We're not talking about patients with no insurance. These are the patients with insurance. And not only the insurances deny those, they say that, hey, we don't think that you're gonna be, that this is a legit service you provided. But if you disagree with our decision, we want you to go through these steps to claim it back. You got to convince us that this was a necessary service that we need to pay for it. And that's where we come in. So we expedite the process by which all the hoops that the hospitals have to go through to claim those dollars back for the services that they already have provided. So there are several steps for it, and we facilitate every step of that process. For example, they want you to create a one-page appeal letter summarizing all the services and why you think the insurance should pay for it. We do that. They want you to add references and citations to the end of those letters. We do that automatically. They want you to, every insurance has a different appeal form, PDF form that you have to specifically fill out. We do that. And we have done it for hundreds of plans so far, and we keep adding more and more and more. And on top of that, they want you to be in compliance of their own written policies. So all of these steps. So we had been in, last time when I presented, we were in a pilot program with the 2 companies. And at the end of those POCs, our solution increased the appeal process and staff productivity by 66% out of the box. I'm talking about before any EHR integrations and specific payer-specific integrations. Our goal is that we want to get to 200%. That's what we aim for, and we should be getting there pretty soon. So where are we right now? So we initially reaching out to the hospitals, and we thought that was the best way to do that. And that's where I learned a lot from John. If one thing is not working, you got to improvise. So we're working with 3 channel partners right now. 2, we have an MSA signed, and that gives us access to a network of nearly 300 hospitals. So with them, we have, these are the channel partners, think of them, these are the revenue cycle management companies that are approved vendors for those hospitals, and they provide them services for the billing and coding and a lot of other things. And they already have a contract in place with those hospitals. So with them, we have onboarded 3 hospitals since August, and we are on track to onboard up to 5 hospitals by the end of this month. And we stay at a very humble recurring revenue, monthly recurring revenue of $6,000 right now, but the traction looking very good right now. Most of those hospitals that we have onboarded by now, the revenue haven't started to start because there's a 6-month lag on it. We are expecting that by the end of next year, we will have 20 hospitals onboarded, and at least 2 of them, we're hoping that will be directly contracted with us, not through our channel partners. And we aiming for a 5x growth rate for now, which should be achievable by then. And we're still raising investment. We had to extend our seed phase just because the delays, that onboarding processes, it was a bigger thing that we anticipated even. But we are integrating with a lot of systems, very heavy tech support right now. And we are $170K short of our seed funding at this point. And if you like our pitch, go to our social media. Please like us. We would appreciate anything like that. Thank you.
Okay, next team is Santerre with Mark Anderson.
Hi, I'm Mark Anderson. I run Santerre International, a sustainable development company, and I'm pleased to speak with you this evening about a program that turns invasive Asian carp into valuable organic fertilizer. A bit about me, I have a background in mechanical engineering, I spent a decade living and working in Africa and Asia, doing public health engineering, logistics, sustainable development with Doctors Without Borders. And I come from a big agricultural family from southeast Missouri. So you could say that this program is a very natural fusion of all of these elements. Have you ever wondered why the organic aisle in the grocery store is more expensive than the regular produce? Well, the answer is that it's as old as economics. It's supply and demand. The organic industry has grown over 500% in the last 20 years and is expected to grow another 25% by 2030. But we don't actually have the production capacity here to meet this demand. In fact, over the past several years, we've imported tens of billions of dollars worth of raw farm product to the United States that could be grown here in season, but simply because we don't have the production capacity here. The organic market is expected to be a $90 billion market by 2030. The organic market is stable. It has largely a domestic consumer base. It maintains a stable price premium, whereas the conventional market is volatile. It's influenced by international factors like geopolitics and global markets. In the last 5 years, we've seen wild fluctuations in the price of synthetic fertilizers and commodities, for example. And consumers continue to pay the premiums at the checkout, even in an uncertain economy. So there's a commercial case, even among conventional farmers, to include organic production in their portfolio. And interest is surging among farmers to do so, but it can't be done. We don't actually have enough organic fertilizer to make the transition, and we don't actually have enough organic fertilizer to meet the current demand. So why don't we have enough organic fertilizer? We're talking about things like compost and manure and that sort of thing. It comes down to several main factors. It's time, space, and access to biomass. In order to generate the amount of organic fertilizer required to maintain a stable organic production, it takes a tremendous amount of space and a lot of time. It's also expensive to transport, so if you don't have local access to someone producing organic fertilizer, organic production is not viable. Nutrient inconsistency remains a value problem with these conventional sources of organic fertilizer, and increasingly contamination is a problem. So this is chemicals, persistent herbicides, and some of the usual suspects. Farmers have been clear on what they need to facilitate this transition to organic production and take advantage of this vast market just waiting to be taken. And that's to have organic fertilizers that are reliably available, have a consistent nutrient profile, address these contamination issues, and are cost effective. In short, America must produce more organic fertilizer to meet the demand. And we've identified the ideal source for organic fertilizer in the form of invasive Asian carp. Here in Paducah, we happen to lie at the geographic center of the invasive Asian carp problem. They're cheap, abundant, easy to catch, and critically, they're low in contamination. Due to their feeding habits and growth patterns, they don't bioaccumulate contaminants like other species. We have developed a liquid organic fertilizer and are in the process of developing a solid product as well. We can produce our products in a matter of hours rather than the months and years that it takes to get enough manure or compost for organic production. And we only require a small footprint rather than the acres required for these conventional organic fertilizer sources. So why do farmers want to buy our products? Well, they're available on demand. They maintain a controlled, consistent nutrient profile. They address some of those contamination issues we talked about. And when compared to close alternatives, they're reasonably priced. We're looking at an early adopter market, early adopters being organic operations in the Ohio Valley. We'll produce in bulk volume, so wholesale for distributors, retail direct to farmers. We will also reach a secondary market, so home gardeners, through small batch sales on online platforms like Amazon. And we have a distributor lined up who has a location in Kentucky and Ohio, and we're looking to establish an online presence sometime in the first quarter of 2026. We're looking at a 10 times growth model, looking to reach about 0.1% of the total addressable market. Now that's in terms of our early adopter market. We're about 100 farms by year 3, so we have plenty of room for growth. Wholesale will provide stability, and the retail aspect will provide a pathway to geographic expansion. But there's more. When compared to synthetic fertilizers, our products actually improve environmental and human health outcomes. They improve soil and plant health. They reduce the chemicals required for agricultural production. They reduce runoff pollution, and they remove damaging invasive species from the aquatic ecosystem. So basically, the more of our product that you buy and use, the better it is for the environment. We're in the process of setting up a small batch production line here in McCracken County in order to meet our initial sales targets next year. We're in the process of looking to raise around $100,000 in order to get the production off the ground, in order to gain some of this initial traction, and that would primarily cover some installation costs, some equipment costs, and some of these early running expenses. So that, in a nutshell, is our program. If you're interested to hear more, I'd be pleased to speak with you afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Our next company is Weather Brother with Dallas McKinney.
All right. Hi, I'm Dallas McKinney, a meteorologist and GIS professional from Mayfield, Kentucky, who formerly worked for NASA, NOAA, and FEMA before starting my own tech company, Weather Brother. How strong is your family's tornado shelter? Would it have survived the Mayfield tornado? Which of these piles of debris would you have wanted to ride out the tornado in? I'm here tonight to warn you that the broad shelter-in-place warnings for the very violent tornadoes that are more frequently affecting our area are no longer the right advice. Let me provide you a few examples. In 2017, 2 men took shelter from a tornado in their basement. The house collapsed on trapping them inside, and then the basement started to flood, and tragically, they drowned. Just earlier this year, in the St. Louis, Missouri tornado, a woman's house collapsed into her basement, killing her. I could go on and on about the numerous well-built houses with supposedly safe interior rooms that were wiped down to their slabs in the Mayfield tornado, the Brookport, Illinois tornado, and just last spring, the London, Kentucky tornado. So, what are your options? Not interior rooms, not basements, not driving away aimlessly. A Ballard County family tried this earlier this year and ended up driving into a tornado while their mobile home was left unscathed. So you can either buy very expensive storm shelter and then watch the weather like a hawk to know when to get in it and how long to stay there, or you could think like a storm chaser who always knows how strong a tornado is and where it's going, safely evading it to make reports and capture footage. So then, that's why I've created now Weather Brother, which will be a custom weather application to tell you exactly what to do to stay safe from any kind of weather, tailored to you. The Weather Brother app will launch this spring and will take into account your shelter type, AI analysis of radar, your risk tolerance, to tell you the exact instructions you need to stay safe from tornadoes and severe weather. All with no ads or other attempts to scare you to keep your revenue generating attention like other weather media. We plan to launch the app by March 1st and then grow to 1,000 subscribers and $100,000 ARR by June, which is the end of our area's severe storm season. And we currently have about 50 early access customers built up from word of mouth. From there, we aim to prioritize our best channel and then to sustain that 10x growth to reach 10 million ARR and 100,000 families by June 2028. So lastly, I ask, how safe is your family's tornado shelter? And I would ask that anyone interested in preparing their family or their organization to come visit my table behind the wall there, or if you're looking to help even more people, join our angel investor round. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, our next company is Sunnyside Egg Company with Patrick Samuels.
Good evening. Like you said, my name is Patrick Samuels. I am a former U.S. Army Special Forces Green Beret turned farmer and founder of Sunnyside Egg Co., where, as you can see, our chickens spend so much time outdoors that they need sunglasses. So if you've been to the grocery store lately, which most of you probably have, you found yourself in the egg aisle and you're looking at a wide spectrum of eggs out there. Anything from conventional caged hens to what they call free range and pasture raised eggs. And maybe you even did your part and you thought, well, I'm gonna make sure my chickens were raised humanely, and I'm gonna buy these things called pasture raised eggs for double the price. And whenever you did that, you probably thought that this is what your chicken's life looked like, that they got to spend their days out foraging for bugs, out in the sun, on nice green grass. Well, sadly, that is not the case. In the bottom here, you can see what the actual conditions are of pasture-raised and free-range eggs. Every single major pasture-raised and free-range egg company in the United States right now is building 10,000, 20,000, and even up to 100,000 bird barns, shoving the birds inside of there. And as long as they have enough square footage outside of the barn, they can call it pasture-raised or free-range. Doesn't matter if the chicken ever goes outside a single day in their life. And in fact, the industry standard is that the vast majority of the chickens will never go outside. Companies know this, and they know that their customers do want eggs from chickens actually raised outdoors. And so they do things like artificially darken the yolks because they know that customers associate dark yolks with chickens raised outdoors. And so they artificially darken the yolks to convince customers that the chicken has actually been raised outdoors. Here at Sunnyside, we do things a little bit differently. First and foremost, we do actually raise our chickens outdoors, and we do that because that's what customers want, and that's what they're paying for, and so that's what they deserve. But second, we use what we call regenerative practices, meaning we use mobile chicken houses that are rotated around pasture, and we do that for a multitude of reasons, primarily because that system will regenerate the soil rather than destroy the soil, which is what factory farming practices do. And so we're actually able to combat climate change and improve the environment that our chickens are raised in rather than destroying the environment by using our mobile systems. As we look out into the market, modern consumers nowadays, primarily with the food transparency movement, the MAHA movement, everything like that, customers are looking for honest, ethical, humane companies to buy their products for. But unfortunately, right now in the grocery store, as they go to purchase eggs, they're forced to choose between two ends of the spectrum. One end of the spectrum is factory farm eggs, but they can find them conveniently at their local grocery store. The other end of the spectrum is they have to drive an hour outside of the city, go to a small farm who is using these kinds of practices completely out of their way to find eggs from chickens that are raised in this kind of manner. And so what we're doing is we're bridging the gap between that. We're making small-scale practices, small farm practices, accessible in major retailers. And thus far, we've had tremendous traction. So just to give you kind of an idea of what our growth has looked like, 12 months ago today, we had exactly 0 chickens in production. We didn't have a single chicken laying any eggs. We're now in over 40 retail locations, including 4 major retailers and 14 food service locations as well. So currently, our demand for our eggs is outpacing our ability to supply it at the moment. As we look at our revenue for both the past year and upcoming years, we'll finish the year out at about $325,000 in revenue, and we expect to do about $2.5 million over the course of 2026. Just to give you a ballpark idea, for every 10,000 hens that we place in our systems, we gross about $1.2 million in annual revenue for those hens. Not only that, but our eggs are actually affordable. We currently sell for about $7.99 to $8.99 on the grocery store shelves. So the same price that you're paying for Vital Farms, Hanson Brook, Happy Egg, any of these big names, you can get our eggs raised in a much more humane way. We're seeking $300,000 primarily through safe investments to fund our early growth. This will fund our growth from 6,000 hens that we currently have in production to 65,000 hens in production by the end of next year. This will fund personnel needed to support that growth, but then also all the equipment necessary to move our eggs from the farm all the way to their final location on retail shelves. Here at Sunnyside, we obviously like to do things a little bit different than the big guys. We're not just trying to build one more free range or one more pasture-raised egg company that you're going to see out there. We're truly building the first regenerative egg brand out on grocery store shelves. And I always like to say that for every inch of shelf space that we take away from the big guys, that's actively changing the way that eggs are produced in this country. And so if you'd like to be a part of that journey, then let's chat afterwards, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Patrick. All right, the next team I'm going to bring up is the team that I mentioned that's in phase 2. Normally, phase 2 teams are pre-investment. In this particular case, he's got a really innovative approach to how he's going to build out this company. And so I wanted to introduce to you Daniel McCrory with Studio Steadfast.
Hello. How's everybody doing today? Good. Let me figure this out. All right. Well, like John said, I'm Daniel McCrory. I am a gamer, a trained engineer, and the founder of Studio Steadfast. So I want to start with a dilemma that many parents face. So imagine this. It's your son's birthday. He's been asking for this video game for months. He's seen all his friends play it and is hooked. You decide to check it out. And what you see is like an action movie with stunning graphics, crazy fight scenes, and a powerful hero. Everything your son thinks is cool. But that's not all you see. That same hero also gruesomely murders innocents, spews obscenities constantly, and tries to seduce anyone around. You're torn. All your son sees is a crazy cool game. He doesn't care about all the junk in it, but you see where it could really lead. Do you let him play and fill his mind with all that, or not, and strain your relationship? But what if you didn't have to choose? What if there was a studio that made games your son genuinely thought were cool and you could feel good about? Mature games without mature content. That's what Studio Steadfast is all about. So, what's the high-level concept? At the core, our studio is rooted in a Christian worldview. What does that mean? First off, it's the reason we exclude explicit content. It is the lens through which we create fictional stories. Think like Lord of the Rings. It's what drives us to create high-quality games, and it governs how we work with our business partners and customers alike. We're seeking to do a Patreon subscription model with what I'm calling democratized approval. That means that anyone subscribed can vote on new game pitches or feedback for games in development. This is a very similar idea that Angel Studios has. They have 1.6 million subscribers. Last year, they made $96 million annually. Just in the first 3 quarters of this year, they made $211 million. Their success shows a real desire for high quality, non-explicit entertainment. But they're doing it for movies and TV shows, not video games. So why would we do it for video games? Is there really an opportunity? Well, I'm gonna ask a question. Who here has heard of the game Roblox? Can I get a raised show of hands? Okay. So last year, Roblox made more money annually than the Dallas Cowboys, the Golden State Warriors, and the New York Yankees combined. combined. I'm going to say that again. That is, all three of those teams are the highest grossing teams in their league. For another example, you can look at the estimated entertainment market size, all from the same researching company, and you can see that video games beat both movies and music combined. This industry is colossal, and it's only growing with younger generations. So, how do we fit into this vast market, right? Where do we fit? Let's look at an example of our future game production pipeline. So first, we'll create small, low-cost game concepts, enough to get the vision across to the player without fully making the game. Next, we'll present these concepts to our paying subscribers for feedback to see what resonates with them. Then, once a concept is chosen, we'll move on to the development phase and start iterating alongside our community to create the game. Finally, we'll sell the game on PC and/or console stores, and depending on the type of game as well, may have paid expansions or paid cosmetics. So, what's next year look like for Studio Steadfast? Like John mentioned, we're early, but right now I am looking to learn from early adopters, understand how they view the mature content that's typically in games, how they buy their games, and as well what they wish existed. We'll use that all to inform the design of our Patreon tiers as well as the game concept pipeline. Then we'll pitch that back to them and begin to see if we can get some early traction from that. Next, I'm going to grow our presence on social media. Right now I have around 500 followers on TikTok. It's not a lot, but it's not nothing. We're getting there. And keep that going so I can promote the Patreon as well. After that, we'll do our first iteration of the game concept pipeline, which, like I just mentioned, will be game concepting, validating with our audience, developing in tandem with our audience, and then selling the game. Hopefully having a game out sometime late 2026. So, you might be wondering, how can you help? At this time, I'm looking for people that are interested in the mission. That could include investors, advisors, potential co-founders, business partners, or if you're a gamer, you know a gamer, I'd love to interview you and get your thoughts on this topic. So if that's you or you know someone, feel free to stop by my table. But I want to thank Sprocket for the opportunity to be here, and thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. All right, next we have Own Accord. Own Accord, formerly known as Whole Note, and Callan Nanny.
Hello. Hello. As he said, I am Callan Nanny, one of the co-founders of Own Accord, the integration platform that automates royalty registries across the music industry. So a little about me. My whole life, I chose to eat, sleep, and breathe the starving artist lifestyle. Artists like me, we dream of getting our music out to the world and just being heard. Hopefully, we make it big and make a little money along the way. So, my whole life, I've pushed my music as hard as I could, and I have racked up millions of streams, and I thought, finally, I did it. My big break. I'm so ready for that first royalty check. And then it hit, and I was extremely disappointed because it was tiny. So, from there, I set out on a journey and I started digging and researching to find out why that was. And it was then when I was faced with a harsh reality that every independent musician faces at some point in their career, and that is lost income, chaos, a fragmented system that is broken, and we know it as the music industry. So, not only do we have to make the music and have the courage to release it to you all, we also have to then put on the administrative role and register our works across 15 plus different platforms that aren't connected and don't speak to each other in any type of way. Whenever an artist doesn't do this, which many don't, whether it be because they don't even know that they're supposed to, or it's just so chaotic that they avoid it altogether, royalties start falling through the cracks. This is your streaming, your performance, your mechanical, your publishing, and numerous other types of royalties that are always generating when music is played. When this music falls through the cracks, it has created a black box of $2.4 billion in unclaimed royalties. This is because the data is disconnected between the artist, the work, and the royalty. So with Own Accord, we replace chaos with clarity. Artists register their song one time through our platform, and then we make sure that it is registered everywhere that it needs to be across those 15 plus agencies. No more sifting through dozens of browser tabs to do every menial little task like update your bio or change your billing information to make sure that you get paid. We have centralized it all in one dashboard, simplified and automated the entire system. I wouldn't wish this process on nobody, and it's no wonder why artists are always trapped in taking bad business deals just to get the money that they are rightfully owed, that they have earned with their music. Now, I grew up around artists, and if it's one thing that I learned is that artists say they don't have much time. They also don't have much patience. Own Accord can help save 75 to 90% in administrative time. We give you the peace of mind to get more, do less, and create more. Now, most artists are not going to do this process. I've sat with many and I've walked them through it for hours, and I've also been paid to manually manage it for years. So why now? There are do-it-yourself musicians all over the globe going viral right now on TikTok, YouTube, other social media platforms, generating numerous types of royalties. Paired with streaming apps like Spotify, it's easier than ever to get your music out in the world, sometimes from the comfort of your home studio, even your bedroom. So these artists are generating these royalties, and they have to have their works registered across all of these platforms in order to collect them. So we are building the missing royalty infrastructure layer for the $12 billion independent music business. There's 14 million independent artists worldwide who need to be registering their works across all these different platforms. And when they don't, it creates that black box that I was mentioning earlier. Now myself, in the past, I have paid for 3 to 5 separate subscriptions just to juggle all of these tasks for me. And I know there's many other artists that are doing the same. Own Accord has simplified this entire process. So, for a monthly subscription and a small commission on the royalties we collect, artists can upload their music. We will handle the distribution and connect them with the royalty agencies, the publishing, and everything that they need to make sure that they're getting paid on time for their work. So, we only need 1,600 subscribers to break even, and we project an annual recurring revenue per user of $240 an artist. At the end of year 3, with 20,000 subscribers, we'll be sitting at $5 million in annual recurring revenue. And we're not starting from zero. We already have 200 plus pre-subscribers signed up waiting to join our live system. We have 14 signed LOIs from influencers reaching millions of followers, one of which, Ben Schuler, who we helped collect $20,000 in unclaimed royalties that he didn't even know existed. So Own Accord can help increase an artist's annual income by 20 to 40%. In January, we start a soft launch with our early adopters, and then we move on to indie festivals, music conferences, social media marketing, and referral incentives. We have a skilled team all bringing unique talent, the lived artist experience, combined with technology integration experts. And we also have a growing advisory board of industry veterans who are skilled in data management, rights management, publishing, and they're helping us navigate this complex system. Own Accord gives creators real control, it automates workflows, and it creates new income streams. We're building the connective infrastructure that allows the entire creator economy to scale. We're currently looking for more investment. Our goal is $500,000. We have commitments for about half of that. So if you would like to help us out, we would love to talk more. Our table is in the back corner. We would love to speak more. Thank you.
Thank you, Callan. Okay, last team is X-Rake Finisher with Derek Barnhill.
Just down, right? Down.
Yeah, just down.
Sorry. Awesome. How's it going? I'm Derek Barnhill with X-Rake Finisher.
It is, okay, here we go. It is a handheld power rake used to level grade soil and rock, any type of material. Well, we don't want to go to that yet. We'll learn these buttons. All right. So I've been in the excavation business for 20 plus years, and no matter how large of a job we're on, there's still been a need for something small enough to get up around tight areas against a new build or in between a curb and a sidewalk that's only like 3 foot wide. So no matter how big of equipment, we've always needed something small, and there's nothing there. So I'm sure you are wondering, who else might need it? Here we go. So this is the problem. These are all job sites that we're on, and it is a liability of the contractor when they come on site, like Paducah Water, Atmos, any municipality. Until these holes are filled in, if somebody steps off into it, they're liable. So they want it fixed as soon as they possibly can. So a lot of the larger equipment is so weather dependent, they can't get in unless the soil is just right. So it puts them off, and they're always concerned that something's going to happen. So currently in the market, you traditionally are using a skid steer and a power rake. It is very expensive at $120,000. And then you also have to have a skilled operator, and you have to have the insurance for all the equipment. You have to have a truck and trailer. There's a lot that goes into it. And then the X-rake will fall into that line. It's a little bit cheaper than the skid steer and power rake, just barely. But then we've been having to use a mini tiller, which is 8 inches wide. It just turns the soil under. It was really initially made for like raised garden beds. But when you have a hammer, you make everything a nail, and that's what's been having to get used on large construction sites. So the other option has been just a traditional rake, which I don't know how many of y'all have used a rake, but they're no fun. Like straight up, nobody wants to use a rake. And as hard as it is to have employees in your workforce, when they see you driving around in an air-conditioned cab, and they get to follow you with a rake, it is very hard for them to want to do that 8 hours a day. But if you hand them something with a motor, they feel skilled, and you'll be over there working, you'll look at them, and they're like taking selfies of themselves, like, look at me, look what I'm doing. So it has really changed our job sites completely. So the solution is our X-rake finisher. It is a portable power rake. It comes in at 38 pounds. It's 3 foot wide, so there's no trailer needed. You throw it in the back of the truck. You get a very similar finish that you would from a large machine. And the great thing about it is conditions don't have to be just perfect. If it's still a little bit wet, you can still get in there and get something done and get a job invoice and get money coming back instead of waiting around for our weather. So we are through our trademark phase, and we are in the middle of getting our patent through on the X-ray. So product development, we have had a prototype in the field for 2 years, and we have put it through the paces. We have beat on it. If somebody tells us no matter what they use, they break it, we're like, here you go. Like, see what we can do. And it is, it's held up. We're in about the 3rd iteration, and we think we have it lined out. It's very, very handy. We're going to do a small market entry in January. We have 4 units ready to go out, and we have 20 plus people on our wait list ready to purchase as soon as we get the clearance to go ahead after the patent. Every time this machine is on a job site and being used, we have people stop and watch, and they get out and they're like, what is that? We want one of those. And we're like, just give us a minute, and we will hopefully fulfill your need. So our market strategy, currently in the U.S., landscaping alone is a $150 billion a year market, and we just want just a little bitty piece of that, and we would be very, very happy. But the good thing about X-rake is how many industries that it touches into. Not just landscape, it touches into your concrete contractors, plumbers, people running irrigation lines, golf courses, sportsplexes. It's in many, many areas, but landscape alone is $150 billion.
So we already have a great relationship with the local municipalities, and they are very interested, and they're ready to purchase as soon as we get the clearance to go. And we're planning on year one selling 25 units, and all this is with y'all's help. In year two, we're shooting for 500 units, and by year three, we're shooting for 1,500 units, which would put us at $3.3 million by year three. But we cannot do that without some funding. We are trying to raise $500,000 to get us out of our home garage before we burn it down, and our wives are not happy with us for doing what we've been doing in the garage. And we also need enough money to get the materials on hand to where we can have enough units to where we can go to the rental stores and to these expos, and when they say we want 500 units or 1,000 units, we can actually provide the need. So that's our plan. And we just want to thank y'all for being here. And our table's back there in the little cubby. So we've got our prototype here. Y'all come check it out. You can handle it. And yeah, we'll go from there. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Derek. Okay, so before we break, I would definitely, try to go talk to all the teams, the founders, and ask for questions. They need that kind of help in developing what they're doing, right? Being able to talk to people who maybe don't know much about what they're doing and the kind of questions that come up for you guys. Something else that we're doing is we're trying to develop the angel investor community in Western Kentucky. There's a lot of people in the area that definitely have the means to do that and would qualify for that, but there hasn't been a lot of infrastructure for doing angel investment in Western Kentucky. So we've been working on that for a while. And we have some books over there for sale. This is Angel by Jason Calacanis, who is a wildly successful angel investor. It's a little tiny bit dated. It's 2018, I believe, and so it's pre-COVID, and the situation has changed since COVID, but it's changed in our favor. Prior to COVID, if you were going to be an angel investor, you mostly wanted to invest in Silicon Valley and places like that. That's not true anymore, but there's a lot of great lessons in that book for angel investors. We're also starting up in January. We're going to do a monthly luncheon where we bring in an investor or a team, have potential or existing angel investors come. They do a presentation, not too dissimilar to these, and there's an opportunity for Q&A and all that kind of stuff. And it'll be teams that are looking to raise funding. We've been working with Keyhorse Capital and InvestBlue to put together some means by which you can participate at an easier entry level and kind of learn the ropes, that sort of stuff. And before we break, I just want to point out a few of our partners that are in the room that can help you with that if you're interested in being an angel investor. So we have Kelby over here from Keyhorse and Ron over here from Keyhorse. Where's Ron? Where'd he go? Is Ron here? Oh, I thought he was here. Oh, okay. And we have Lisa from KSTC, and let's see, was there time I missed some? Oh yeah, Christine. Where are you? There you are. Christine from Cabinet for Economic Development. She's actually got a table. Did you have? David Brock is here. Oh, David Brock is here. David knows a ton. There's David. So if you're interested in that, get with one or more of these folks and ask them questions, get their cards, that kind of thing. They can be very helpful. And join us when we start doing these luncheons. All right, so I'm going to let you all go. There's food. Go ask the teams your questions. If you want to know more about the Market Fit Lab, come find me.